to bbcworldservice.com. That's the latest world sport from the BBC.
From London, this is BBC Caribbean Report.
In this edition of BBC Caribbean Report, we focus on the roots of parang music in Trinidad.
And a male voice saying, "Pablo, over a butler, open the door, the parang is here."
Coming up, the parang enthusiasts. Parang music takes hold more firmly every year at Christmas time in Trinidad and Tobago and to a lesser extent in other parts of the Caribbean. It is a type of Trini music that BBC Caribbean's Tony Fraser loves to the max. Here Tony and his son Jabari share the joy of parang, the music, its history, and those who nurtured and helped develop it.
Parang, the indigenous music of the Trinidad and Tobago Christmas. It is the music which has overtaken all other Christmas musics here over the last 35 years. Parang is the folk music brought here over 100 years ago by those we call cocoa payol. These were Venezuelans who came to work on the many cocoa estates which were at the core of the then agricultural economy. But Trinidad, especially, is nothing if it isn't a mixture of ethnic groups, cultures, and an inherent capacity for mixing and logical, therefore, that the parang of the cocoa payol has undergone many a change in the music and content of the lyrics, from the sacred to the profane and back again.
There were Santa Cruz, Lopino, Arima, Maracas Valley, Siparia, Mon Diablo, Cora, Buen Intento, San Rafael, Mundo Nuevo, and other remote cocoa-growing villages with wonderfully romantic sounding names.
I would tell them it's Spanish carols. And from the French is Bon 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 la Calousie Vite, Bon 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 la Calousie do, and Le Chante Noël, meaning the same thing, all in heralding the birth of Christ, the Savior of the world. And that is what we in Trinidad know in English, in French, and in Spanish. Parang.
The queen of the dance in Trinidad and Tobago, Beryl McBurney, went into the villages and brought out the parang. In doing so, she gave the national community the cocoa payol pananderos, burnt bronze by the sun and made tough by their drinking habits. Holly Bitodie, now 85 years old, was there.
Beryl and I had a common bond because I was the country boy that could tell a lot about the cocoa chipon and all that kind of thing. Went with her to many of the Shango houses and the bongo and the Bel Air and the Gayap, which again is and the Crossway, which is Vaikwa, which is the nucleus of parang beyond the Feast of the Three Kings.
But even before that, Holly as a little boy heard parang in his village.
There were some neighbors who came from St. Joseph to live in Arima called the Cieltos. And I heard this quattro playing in the distance and a voice singing and a male voice saying, "Pablo, over a butler, open the door, the parang is here." And I got up and my grandmother gave me 2 slaps. Say, "Go back to bed. These drunken people, you have had your Christmas greetings in church. Be quiet." And I remained quiet but could not sleep. The rhythm was pulsating. I fell in love with parang that morning.
Many years ago, a second-generation parandero, Alfredo Gomez, with his Spanish accent thick as if he had just landed from Venezuela, told me that for weeks before Christmas, they would cross over the mountains to serenade each other. Alas, Alfredo is gone and I was careless with the recording. Today, parang has its being in many competitions and shows leading to Christmas Day. But there are legendary paranderos who must never be forgotten.
But Papa Goon, and let me tell you, he really was one of the main parang people. Then there was Tres Sylvester Mata. Daisy was somebody that was from Arima, born, but went to St. Raphael. And St. Raphael was a serious cultural town where the Capuchins first established their religion. And she was very forceful in the La Divina Pastora presentation of the church celebration. And the guts of parang came from that side into Daisy on to the wood with the bouquet. Aye.
One of the great parang bands of the day has a name known all over the world. The Lara brothers from Santa Cruz, great uncles of the man himself. Alas, only one of the original brothers is left to serenade the parang. Well, food and drink are as central to parang as an aguinaldo.
There were two sets of food court, shall I call it. The well-to-do food court and the not-so-well-to-do food court. There are parang those who come into a house and they eat some bhaji and rice and some buljol, which is saltfish. And if they're lucky and they have a few fowl that lay a few eggs, they bust an egg, fry an egg and throw it in the thing. There are homes that were catering for them and made pastels. When you go to the better off houses, the punch of cream come out. Oh, by the way, in that house that I tell you about the thing, some babash. Because babash was, but it was uncured, not properly cured rum, which was potent. Because I remember in a parang situation, same by my boys, where some cocoa pine come and they drink and she give them some babash. And one of the fellas remain and sit down there and stay for a week because he come outside to go and the parang band leave him because they say, boy, let me go because they're busy, they have other places to go and other things. They had to cross the river in Mausika and go down to Cleaver Heights, and they're going down Aruka, and they're going down straight to Tunapuna, and they're coming out in Tagarigo, and they're going to Karani because they ain't going in Tong because Tong too civilized.
Holly played a significant role in popularizing parang on radio and television. He hosted such shows on both media for more than 30 years. Importantly, he placed the old Cocopayol farmers and their music on the national stage. As could be expected with any cultural form, change has come to the parang. Soca has been infused into traditional parang. Man of culture, Holly Batude is a traditionalist, but he's also a realist in cultural matters.
I am tolerant to it because for the simple reason that I have learned to understand not only in the discipline of parang, but in a lot of things, in calypso, in songs, in behavior patterns, in family lifestyle, that there are changes. Crazy, Massive Gosain who sang Chapney Parang. And because we are cosmopolitan people and because we are a couple of multiplicity, we are a mosaic in the world's spectrum in color, creed, race, religion, behavior. So we can't run from that.
It all started in 1978 with the song appropriately titled Soca Parang, but popularly known just as Maria. Edwin Ayang, known in the entertainment world as Crazy, the creator of Soca Parang, filled in the details on how he first mixed the genres.
Frank Sinatra and this one are singing, I'm dreaming of snowed off all year. So how could we be dreaming of a white Christmas? So the Parang Soca was born where a friend of mine named Clifford Yearwood, he wrote down some words on a piece of paper. I took the role of lead singer Parang Soca in Arima. And I took it from him, and I went and I took my guitar, and I composed a melody like what we had with the old traditional parang. And I put some English words. I took the role of lead singer, Parang Soca in Arima.
However, back then, it did not receive the wild airplay it now does at Christmas time. Neither was it highly thought of.
And people start kicking up against it. They say, hey, Crazy, you're trying to change the traditional parang. I made a CD, but another CD. In those days, it was wax. And I carried it on a record, sort of, and the fella fling it away. Say, don't bring that nonsense here.
Crazy says the music is always evolving and has changed a whole lot since he first began singing Soca Parang. He's urging the singers to keep it clean.
I told them that we want to keep in tune with, we don't want no kind of smutty kind of suggestive songs. We want to keep in tune with Christmas. We have a lot of things to sing about, like the cows and the angels, Bethlehem, the three wise men from the east. We have ginger beer, sorrel. We have so many things we could sing about.
According to Crazy, Soca Parang is not limited to singing about the birth of the Christ child, and the key part is singing about Trinbagonian Christmas traditions. He says Soca Parang singers Scrunter and the Baron have taken that and made the music their own. He says he even sought to make it popular among the many races in Trinidad and Tobago.
The Parang Soca have a little chutney in it. It have chutney. You bring in the races. Like when I said El Poquito, I mentioned Parata. Uno rum, uno Parata. I say Parata to attract the Indians. So the Indian people get to like it too.
A tribute from one important parangero to another. This year, Crazy paid musical tribute to Tito Lara of the Lara Parang dynasty, who died in 2009, and the song is widely popular this season. Soca Parang songwriter Misha Lubo, who co-wrote the song with Crazy, is of the opinion that the traditional form still has its relevance and place. She noted some of the differences among the root genre and its many strains.
Traditionalists, and a lot of the music was being amplified, so it was kind of important to honor and remember people like Tito Lara, who still make music from basic percussive instruments, percussion, and that kind of instrumentalist, that kind of work.
And that special on Parang presented by Tony and Jabari Fraser. Parang is described as a popular folk music originating out of Trinidad and Tobago and part of the country's Hispanic heritage that originated from over 400 years ago during Spanish rule via Venezuela. Tomorrow and next week on BBC Caribbean, there will be other specials, including a 2-part documentary on Peter Tosh. But for now, that's BBC Caribbean Report. I'm Ken Richards.
Coming up on NewsHour over the next 30 minutes, Nigerian prostitutes trafficked in Mali. A man shot dead in France, suspected of stealing truffles, the rare mushrooms that fetch such a high price. And the Los Angeles food critic unmasked after 16 years of writing anonymously. And first, a summary of the latest world news.
BBC News for David Legg. The world's top human rights body, the UN Human Rights Council, has expressed deep concern about the violence in Ivory Coast following disputed presidential elections. A senior UN official said investigators could confirm more than 170 killings, 90 cases of torture and over 500 arrests. Foreign embassies in Rome are on high alert after parcel bombs exploded